Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.
Well, okay, I didn't see it count down. Are we on? This camera, we've gotten so high tech around here. We've got cameras over there, cameras over there. We think we're going to get one to keep one on you in the back of the room, Tony. We're just glad that y'all are watching on wherever you are right now. I am Jeanne Robertson, and I'm back on my back porch again, and we've got glorious weather in North Carolina. It's a little cooler, but it's not raining, and we're just thrilled that you're here to watch us. We're going to have a good time. A reminder, because some of you will be posting on Facebook and asking questions today. Tony's back there going through all of them, my assistant of 42 years. And Patrick's at the front, they both can see. So we don't have any politics in here. We don't discuss anything controversial. We don't ever criticize other people unless they really deserve it. No, not true. We're just here for some fun. Look, you see me segue to the other camera. You look like a person directing an airplane in, Patrick, with earphone sets and everything. But what we do want to do is answer a lot of your questions. We have a special guest today for a few minutes to update us on our shows that many of you have tickets to see. We're going to tell you a lot of other information too today and tell you about next week's show as well. Why don't we start it off by asking some questions and see if we can get it rolling. This, of course, is the smiley face bucket. The question most of you have been asking is, where'd you get the smiley face bucket? Like most of the things in this house, except furniture. And I get that at flea markets. But everything else, I've been a professional speaker since 1963 with signed contracts. And so you get stuff when you speak at conventions, swag. And down in Florida, when I spoke at a luncheon, it was gorgeous. They had these buckets on because they were bringing in a humorist, and they had these gorgeous made out of material flowers. And of course, I brought my bucket home. So now we're going to pull out a question and see what it is. And this is completely random, but we do have Tony go through them. And if everybody's asking the same questions, like how did you meet Left Brain, or how did Beaver get his name? That's our son. Sometime we make sure we don't have 10 of those in there because it wastes the time. All right, this question is, and we assume that if you write a question and your name is there, that I can say your name. This is from a Laureen Hatter Cox. Okay, where was your first paid speaking engagement, and what was that occasion? Okay, July 1963. I believe I got $35. I'm not sure. I have the contract. I kept all my contracts for now starting the 57th year. It was on a Tuesday, and it was Tuesday after I had won the title of Miss North Carolina, and I went to a shopping center in, oh gosh, what is the name of the town? I'm going to have a blink off. In North Carolina, in a town, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I was to speak at a luncheon. And I really had spent Sunday giving interviews with the media. They had all these things. We had a parade in Graham where I won. And then I got some clothes. And the funny thing about it is they sent a stretch limousine to Graham, North Carolina. And Patrick, I need to switch to the other microphone sometime. Okay, thank you. They said, it's a camera. I'm trying to work into this. I know how to do this. So they sent a stretch limousine. And the story in Graham was told that on the filling station right outside of Graham, like they are in every little small town, this big stretch limo pulled in, and the guy came out, think Mayberry type thing, and said, well, whoo, this is some car you got here. He said, we're here to pick up Jeannie Swanner. And the guy in the filling station said, you're kidding. I didn't even know she had passed. And so that flew around town forever. But I said to my daddy, what should I do? I was supposed to make a speech in Fayetteville, and he said something very interesting, and has probably been a big influence on my life. He said, you got to say something funny. You can't get up and just talk and cut their ribbon. They were opening up something, and you got to say something funny. And I said, well, what do I say about Fayetteville? I don't know of anything to say. And he said, well, that's the way we go to the beach. And I know 3 or 4 different times I've gotten a speeding ticket there, and I think it's a speed trap. You might mention that. And I did, and it brought the house down. So that's where I was the first time, and I still have my contract. Now that I think about it, I may have been paid $100 because the first year I spoke, and I made over 500 speeches, and to different, not 1.5 hour shows, but giving speeches. My fees were $35 for the North Carolina JCs, any JC group, because they sponsored the pageant. $50 for other groups that were service clubs, Rotary Club, Sabbatean Lions Club, and $100 for corporate events. And this shopping center would have been a corporate event. So now, thanks for the question. That was a long time ago. I still have those clothes, but I couldn't get in them. Laureen Hatter-Cox, thanks a lot. Now, what I do for those of you who are new is that I'm going to drop her name in this green bag right here that says Left Brain's Grocery Bag. And in that bag, we'll draw several prizes during the day. I'll get out another question from down in here. This question is from Debbie Not Valentine. I am an Auburn graduate, War Eagle, and I teach 4th grade in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I've heard of it. I know exactly where it is. How did you and Left Brain meet? In the case that's already been answered, how did he propose? Do you remember, I think 2 or 3 summers ago, when something was coming through in the air like that we only came by a comet? Whatever was going to happen, it might have been an eclipse. We were going to go dark. Do y'all remember that? Tony, what was it? You don't remember it either? I can't believe I asked Tony something she didn't remember. But we all got out, and you weren't supposed to look at it because it was too bright and it might strike you blind. And we got out on our deck, and we had on the right glasses and all of that kind of thing. Well, in 1963, in August, one night, something was coming through, and they said, this won't come through again until, and that was the one we saw 3 years ago. And Left Brain said in a real quiet voice, I would really like to watch that next one that comes through with you. And I took that as a proposal. I don't know what he meant, but wouldn't you take that as a proposal? So Debbie Not Valentine, and War Eagle to you, Debbie. All right, let me draw over here. See what's in the box. Okay. This one is from Chris Mosley, Mozley. Hello, Jeannie. Great show on the porch today. My question, when you were growing up, did you ever climb trees? My best friend and I climbed some old oak trees in the small town of Jackson, South Carolina. Such fun. We skinned our knees, ant spikes from sitting in those trees under the canopy. Great memories. Thank you for your humor. So the question is that made it to the smiley bags. Did I ever climb trees? Well, the low limbs, I was looking at them just right on because I was 6'2". But my sister and I had some limbs that we could get to, but getting in the top of the tree all the way, no, because the first thing I would do when I would get too high is clutch to the thing and call for somebody to come and help me get down. I wasn't a tree hugger. How about that? I love trees. We're sitting in them. All right, next question. They're right in here. See what this one is. Folded up too tight, it's wasted. All right. Brenda Blitchington Skipper. Blitchington Skipper. Thanks ever so much for posting a link to your songs and photos. Wonderful. Love everything. Blah, blah, blah. Enjoyed you. And I hope to see you in Newberry sometime. Ordered your book today. Hugs. Okay. If you're commenting my songs and my photos, you're talking about the song that was written by Harold Payne, who's won every award in songwriting imaginable. Did you say you think you can get Harold Payne, Patrick, to be a guest via? Wouldn't that be something? But several years ago at the National Speakers Association, Patrick was actually the convention chair, and I keynoted the convention. And one of the things they did that week for that convention was just bingo, just like that. When a speaker walked off the stage after I spoke for an hour, immediately Harold Payne from California came walking on with his guitar and sang a song about that person's presentation. And everybody said to me later, oh, he must have talked to you earlier and gotten all this. I said, no, that's the magic of what he can do. That's what he does so fast. And then the pictures, we asked Harold if he would let us use that song in different places and post it. And he said he would, but we thought it needed pictures. And Marty Heim, who is our guru for our computer stuff, and also the publisher editor of Southeast Gazette magazine, and I now write for them once a month. But she put all the pictures behind it on there, so that we then put it up on YouTube, and it is a clip. I think the clip runs about 2 minutes and 51 seconds or something like that. But if you want to watch it, the whole song is funny. And yes, I've talked about this in the last week or two. There are pictures of me with Left Brain, Tony, everybody. You would. At the bottom of the screen. Oh, you put it up there? For all my bestest friends. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. So that was good to hear. And so you should listen to it. And it's just a very clever song. And Marty put the pictures up in it. The Auburn people always go nuts because they say, were you sitting in Jordan Hare Stadium for that one quick picture? And I say, yes, I was. All right, next question. And then we'll move on to some more stuff. All right. Here, Wendy Kelly. Hello from Louisiana. That's the question. Hello from Louisiana. Well, we're all very familiar with Louisiana up here because, of course, New Orleans is where I have several stories that I've put up. And the new president at Elon is one of 9 children. She grew up in Louisiana, Dr. Connie Book. And I have a story about what happened the week she was selected for the job. And I think I might have said, if you see something from Louisiana, leave it in so I could mention that. What a great president she's been, and what a salute to all the college presidents and everybody associated to try to figure out what to do during the COVID. I love a challenge, but I don't know if I want to be on the committees with everything. Our kids will be here next week to start at Elon again. We've got a junior boy, and then we have a special friend from Branson, Missouri coming in as a freshman. So I can't think of anything else. Oh, I know. The story that I have up that's about, would you like some great poupon happened down in New Orleans? Okay, right now, I'm going to take the big buck right here. Now, if you have asked questions, this thing has thousands, I'm sure. I'm going to give away a copy of my book. And here's the news on the book. The book that came out, you remember, there was some problems at the printer. We found some, we thought, unforgivable errors that had to be corrected. We really didn't have many typos in it, but in the front of the book, I said, just joking, I said, for all the Left Brain readers, and in a salute to my husband, wonderful husband, Left Brain, we've put in a few errors in deliberately. And so that was the first edition. The second edition, y'all send in, I asked you to send them in, and y'all send in any error that you could find. Best, cheapest way to get a book edited was the last edit I've ever seen. So now the second edit has been ordered. And I would say by next week, we'll have the delivery date. But the limited edition, first edition one, is the one we're giving away here. I'm going to reach in. And folks, we give a bunch of these away every week. You have to contact Tony and give her your snail mail address. If you're going to, of course, that's the post office. I'm not implying, somebody said you're implying the post office is slow. I'm not. I just think it's slower than email. So here we go. I'm just going to pull out a name right out of here, and you would be the winner of a copy of the book, which is Don't Bungee Jump Naked. And the winner is Mary Beth Mays, M-A-Y-E-S. Woohoo, Mary Beth, you won the book. Tony, I'm putting her name over here on the table. Mary Beth Mays, you get in touch with Tony with an I, at Jeanne Robertson, without an I, and .com, and give her how to mail the book, and you can get that. So we'll give away 2 right now. All right. Now, if your name is over here, you'll get a separate draw later. Okay, reaching in, reaching around, find a thing. And if you've been asking questions for, weeks on end, this is the 20th time we've done this. Your name's in there. Okay, and this one is Gina, Gina Waller-Key. Okay, I can relate to your stories because my husband is exactly like that. See, that's why this name is in the over here, because that's not really a question. Tony, you got something to say?
So people are asking, where can they order the book? So why don't you give that, make sure Patrick has that up on the board.
Okay, well, you go to Jeanne Robertson, my website. If you want it signed, you can download the book. You can read it on all the current things. But if you want it signed with a book plate that goes in your book, from me, that's what Tony got here today for this show. And she said, well, you got up early and we're signing books, because we try to get them on out of here. And at this point, we have some people. Yesterday, somebody ordered 8 for Christmas. And our suggestion to them would be, do you want the ones with the arrows, first edition, or would you want to wait? And in a couple of weeks, we send you those. So you might have to do that. Tony, you wanting to say?
Store JeanneRobertson.com. Is it on?
Oh, you got it in there? Okay. Y'all, it is a funny book. I have some other books we're trying to buy back. If you have a copy of that one, that's what we will do. Okay, Gina Waller-Key, congratulations on that. And we'll give away several more books as we go on. So why don't we bring in a friend to all of us and that has the information. We invited Al McCree from Nashville, Tennessee. He's head of the Nashville People, who book my theater shows. Mainly the questions we've been hearing from all of you is, when are you going to start traveling again? Left Brain has said the same thing. When will you start traveling? I would love to be traveling. I did go to Destin last week for a convention. I think I told you the room seated 600 and they had 94 and they were spread out. So we were safe, and they couldn't have been nicer and couldn't have laughed louder. But this whole thing with the theater shows is interesting. So there's Al. Patrick, may I turn my head to the other camera now? I'm going to go over here. Where are you? Patrick, are you there? Okay, I'm over here. Y'all, this is Al McCree. And Al McCree, as I said, books all of my theater shows and many other people's too. But he is the one we call the head of the Nashville People, because Tony would always say, when this all started for me 10 years ago, in reverence, Al, in reverence, the Nashville people have called those people that want to put you in theater shows, tell them we're doing fine in conventions, we don't need this. And I'd say, no, let's hear what they say. So actually, I've known Al for 30-some years. So Al, welcome to our show. And what we want to know from you is, what's happening with my theater shows and about everybody else's in the country?
Well, thank you, Jeannie. It's been a pleasure to be the Nashville People for all these years. The truth is, we don't really know. I mean, it'd be nice, but the whole concert industry is kind of in the middle of this uncertainty. And there have been very, very few live shows. There have been a couple, but for the most part, they haven't happened yet because local and state health regulations will not allow us to gather. So the big thing is just we have an awful lot of uncertainty. We're trying to keep up with it as we reschedule and or reluctantly cancel shows. I'm going to share my screen right now to show what your schedule is upcoming. And I want to emphasize to people that the best information that you can get on Jeannie shows will come from her website, which is JeanneRobertson.com. And then click on this link called Open to the Public. Now, some of you may not be able to see this if you're on a phone or whatever, but if you just go to the JeanneRobertson.com website, click on the Open to the Public link, it will give you the most up-to-date information as we know it. Now, remember, sometimes decisions are made and they don't tell us they're going to reschedule a show or whatever, and we might get the word 2 days late. So the website will be as good information as we have. We try to keep it updated. We do it daily if it's at all possible. So, for example, all of her shows that were scheduled for August and September have been rescheduled and or canceled. And we know that the first 4 shows in October are going to be rescheduled. Seattle, Portland, Wabash, and Kalamazoo are going to be rescheduled. We just don't have a date yet. We're working. Remember, everybody in the concert industry is going through this right now. So we're all scrambling for dates in 2021. Now, interestingly, this week, the governor of South Carolina decided to let South Carolina have gatherings and concerts as long as it was 50% of capacity and a socially distanced mandate. So the 4 shows in Newberry and then the 1 show in Sumter right now are scheduled to go. Of course, this could change. If there's a spike in the number of cases in South Carolina, the governor or the local officials might well say, nope, that's rescinded. We're going to go back and shut it down again. So we apologize, but this is not really anything we can control. But at any rate, if you can go to this website, it will show you all of the shows. The other shows in November, Palm Desert, Des Moines, Omaha, Sumter, and Auburn right now are scheduled to happen. But who knows what's going to happen in the future. Many of the shows that were scheduled have now been scheduled for 2021. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, there's one other thing here you'll notice on 2021, there's a link that says early access. Let me explain to you how that works. If you click on that link and give us your email address, we will tell you when the tickets go on sale. So you don't have to worry about it. We'll email you about the pre-sale if that's at all possible, and if they have a pre-sale, and so you'll know what's going on. So just sign up for early access for a show you want to go to. We'll let you know. That's also
no charge. You're not charging.
No charge. You're not buying a ticket. You're just saying, I want information about the tickets to these shows. Now, it's very important that you buy your tickets from the link that's on Jeannie's website or from the authorized venue ticket seller. I can't tell you how sad it is when we get emails from people that said, well, I bought my tickets from Official Tickets or Vivid Seats, and I want to get a refund and I can't do it. That's because those sites, as are many others, in what they call the secondary market or the reseller market. And they're very deceptive. This morning I Googled Jeanne Robertson tickets and I found 5 different websites which were resellers or secondary ticketing. One, they're going to charge you a lot of money, more money than the stated price. And second, if you try to get a refund because you can't go to a show, then you may have lots of problems doing that. So please come to Jeanne Robertson, .com, open to the public, and the link will be correct. If you're a local person and you know the website for the local venue, then that's certainly okay. But again, it can be very deceptive. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here because that doesn't do any good. Does that answer your question, Jeannie?
Yeah, it does, especially that part about people call here and they say, I bought 4 tickets for almost $600 and I want you to refund the money. We said, we didn't get the money. You didn't buy them from us. Compare it to buying a ticket for a football game outside the stadium. It's a sellout game, you get inside, and I'll declare, they look like tickets and they're not tickets and there aren't any seats. We have no control over people doing that. But while you are here, watch his face. This is the man that I'll just give you a couple of examples. I don't. Oh, hey, Peg! Oh, no. This is Peg.
I brought Ellen a little drink of water.
Oh no, you're just getting into. Oh, and the I Love Left Brain Cup. This is Peg McCree. Please, after the show, not now. If you have not seen a clip called "The Merch Director," when Tony can't go all the time, we're running a business here. Peg has become the merch director and she travels with me. Now, when they meet me, this means that I'm working backstage with Al. Peg's out front for being Peg. We're having a good time. And yet, Peg, stop.
I want to let you know I'm going to the grocery store.
Not work on commission. Go put those things up. I'm telling this story on Al. Okay, this is serious. Am I still looking at this camera? Okay. So I'm sitting on stage one night. Now you tell me my my followers here. You just tell me. I'm sitting out there and in the middle of telling a story. Stay in the picture, Peg, because you're involved. Not at the end. I've always said, if you have to interrupt me, let me finish the story and have the punchline going. Don't just walk out there in the middle of the thing. Oh, I understand. So all of a sudden, in the middle of a story, not at the end, no end of the story, Al comes walking out, and I'm thinking, what is he doing? You're talking, you're doing the show, but your mind is saying, what is he coming out here about? Are my clothes falling off, whatever? And he leaned down and said to me in front of a completely not full, but many full auditorium. And the reason it wasn't full was what he said. He said, Jeannie, half of the tickets for the show say it starts at 7:30. The other half of the tickets say it starts at 8 o'clock. We started at 7:30. The 8 o'clock people are here and they're upset. And then he turned around and walked off the stage. Walked off the stage. Am I lying?
No, it's true. That's the truth.
Peg was outside, and some people came up, and they were just casually looking at the merchandise table, and she said, "I'll be out here after the show if you want to get something, but you might want to go on into the show and enjoy it because we had started." And then the man said, "It better not have started. My ticket says it doesn't start till 8 o'clock." And that was the first thing that Peg knew. And then they found out. And what had happened is somebody at the theater didn't think we were going to sell out. They didn't print enough tickets for all the seats. And then when we sold out, they had to print more tickets, and the second ticket somehow made the show at 8 o'clock. Am I telling the truth, guys?
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Okay, I think, and Peg can vouch for it. And so that was her job. She's got on all this junk that we can't sell.
Actually, Jeannie,
huh?
Jeannie, I'm going to the grocery store. This is the way we dress for the grocery store.
Oh, you're not like Mama Rose. No. Thanks for all your help. So then another time, because I don't know when I'll get him to come back. He's so busy on Saturday. Called him last night. I can't talk to the Predators. They're going to be eliminated if I don't get off the phone. So another time, then we'll wrap you up after this.
Okay.
Watch his face when I tell you this is true too. Kansas City, beautiful theater downtown. I mean, gorgeous theater. But apparently, when storms come through, the theater is prone to leak and flood. And I'm on the stage talking. It's toward the end of the show, and here comes Al walking out on the stage again. I think, what cannot wait 2 more minutes till we finish the show? But I'm smiling and I'm going on. Miss Crim, if you're watching, you were sitting there that night. You and Mr. Bruce were there. And all of a sudden he leaned over and said, "Give me the microphone." And I said, "Give it to him." He said, the theater has flooded. We can't get out. It's ankle deep all over, all the lights out. And I knew that because my microphone was working and I could tell I could get a response, but no other lights on in the theater. He took the microphone and said, "The theater has flooded and here's what we're going to do." And at that point, what we said, we're going to take people out. Well, there will be no merch sale because we're getting everybody out of the theater. A storm had come through. And apparently, this is not the first time this had happened. When we got back to our hotel had flooded too because downtown, and it was a mess. But what was the interesting part was he said, we're going to take the back of the people that need assistance first, and then we're going to take from the back rows out and just do anything you want to do till then. Well, my microphone worked, so I said, "Okay, everybody sit back down. Nobody's in any danger, and I'll answer any questions that y'all might have." And the first hand up was Miss Crim, who's on it, follows me avidly, and I appreciate it. And is she here?
She's on, and she was there.
She was there, and she said, "Now, how about this? This is why I count on my friends to help me so much." She said, knowing the answer, she said, "Jeannie, when will you be coming back to Missouri? Anytime soon?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I'll be back next month. I'll be at Branson." And I started laughing because she had set me up. but we just kept answering questions from the audience, and they would come in and take the back rows out, and they disappeared into the night. But these are the kind of things that happen you think from the front it's just a well-run organization, but I love for things like this to happen because it gives me material. By the way, one more thing before I let you go. I'm noticing.
Here it comes. What did I do this time?
Let me get my list. And so, left brain is not feeling well, therefore I dag out. So the door back there to your right arm, there's nothing on the, well, see, doesn't know right from left. That's one of the problems. The door, that's a lot of empty space, that door. I went to their house. I had given him a playbill from one of my shows. And he said, I'm going to put this in a prominent place in the house or in the office. I got out of the car. It is in his garage. In his garage to this day. And framed, yes. Not really, you frame the other one. See that door back there behind you on your right? That's space for you to put up my playbill right there. And it would look good. So you go get it out of the garage when this is over and try to help me out. If you have to nail it into the wall, Peg's gone to the grocery store.
Next time you have me on the show, it'll be there.
Okay, I bet it will. Hey, thanks, Al. We appreciate you coming and all you do for us. We're going to answer some more questions. Okay, bye. All right. How much time? Okay, we're going over here. Let's answer a few more questions. Then I got a special August treat for them. See what this one is right here. And it says, don't y'all like Al? He does a good job. And I believe, after winning, I think he's booking Debbie Childers and Karen Mills and Joy Earl, just a lot of different, just a lot of people. I gotta think of another one up north, but from Georgia, I'll think of it. Kathy Hale Hendricks enjoyed the show. I was on a flight last fall, seated a few seats away from you. From Pensacola, somewhere like that, to Atlanta, and wanted so badly to say hi, but I didn't want to bother you. Are you kidding me? However, I love to talk to people. I fly that route frequently for business and hope to see you again. Question: during the non-COVID times, do you I can't even read it. Do you mind if your fans speak to you? Thank you for keeping on. From Fairhope, Alabama. Kathy, if it weren't for people liking my work and enjoying talking to me, I wouldn't have this career now. And I love speaking at conventions, but this is really a lot of fun. So you just come right on up. As a matter of fact, I say to people when they come up to me in airports, well, which is your favorite story? 9 times out of 10, what is it? If you think don't send a man to the grocery store, you are right. And so down in my bag, I have maybe 10 don't send a man to the grocery store grocery recipe cards. And when they tell me they like that, I said, well, I don't go through the airport just handing out cards, but I have some in here, and then give them a card. And I will take the phone. I will call Meemaw. If Meemaw is a fan, we just stand right there in the airport doing that kind of thing until it's time for somebody to have to get on the airplane. So, Kathy, thanks for asking that. I appreciate it. And you can come up and talk to me anytime. Where do you think I get my material? Talking to people. It works a lot. All right, another question. And this is from Tammy Martin. Sounds great. And the second camera switch worked great. This must have been, y'all are getting plumb fancy. Well, but we had somebody that wrote in and said, oh no, you're getting all this equipment. You're going to go to pay for view. You're going to go to pay for view. We're going to have to watch. No, this is the thing. Pay for view is when you would have a show and do a show, and people would buy one ticket and they could have 10 people come in, or as many as they want, and watch it, where you would just be telling stories. This is not something that would be pay-per-view. This is between us on my porch. And as long as I do them out here on the porch, there will be any kind of a charge for that. I'm promising you on that. Now, if we did a pay-per-view, that's a whole different thing. Thanks, Tammy. By the way, it is August. Last week, we had a lady named Marilyn Henry You remember her was coming, Patrick? You remember, she's your mother. She was here last week, and you sang the song about the Baptist prayer chain because she's a big Baptist. And I started thinking about something, and we usually ask Patrick to do a song that's funny. Officer Louise, Jesus John Deere. I mean, all of these type songs that are funny, and y'all like that. But I showed you a picture last week of my partner for years. There were 5 of us in a partnership where I would recommend the 4 of them after I gave a speech, and they do the same. So if you're just sitting in North Carolina one night doing nothing, if any of them were speaking, you were getting a recommendation. And we call ourselves the platform professionals. And Robert Henry was a member of that, and is actually the person who brought me in on it. But Robert Henry, Patrick's daddy and Marilyn's husband, of course, passed away. I was down there the weekend before he passed away. What day did he pass away on? Tuesday? Wednesday. But I remember that I was down there that weekend, and then I couldn't go back for the funeral. But I heard from every other past president of NSA and other speakers who was there that you, Patrick, wrote a song and sang at Graveside. Is that correct? I'm going to ask you to sing this song, but I heard you practicing it a while ago. I had to go put on more eye makeup and all that. So this is not exactly the kind of song we normally have him, but everybody has lost somebody that just like a parent, mother or daddy, or anybody in your family, or even your bestest friend. And will you come over and sit right here? Hey, you have it on that camera or this camera? Okay, I'm going to move right here. Okay. Do I take my microphone or do I give you? Okay, give it to you. Oh, wait just a minute. Okay. We should organize this kind of thing better. See, we got Solomon now, because we both know. And Tony, you like this song too, don't you? Okay. We're not trying to make people sad. We're just trying to make people remember the ones that have gone ahead.
Well, I'm happy to be here again, and I'm glad the sound is finally working, because had a bit of an echo last week, and we heard about it.
We hear about every mistake. And we had to come in here a while ago and cut off a flower that had turned yellow, and they said that died, and you need to cut that thing.
That's right. We had some dead plants back here, and so we took care of that for I don't know where she was from, but she was very opinionated about that plant. But as Jeannie mentioned, my father passed away. It was actually 19 years ago, and it was in August. And so this time of the year, I really think about my dad. And so I wrote this song, and I don't think I've played it out more than once, but
I don't know how you played the graveside.
well, I cry at coffee commercials, so it's hard to keep it together. But I call this "Those He Left Behind." Our hearts cried out in sorrow by his graveside. Preacher uttered words I can't recall. The wind blew cold despite the sunny weather, as we laid to rest the man loved by us all. He now sings with the angels, with a voice fit for a king. His weary frame now strong and able, free from the burdens this life brings. My tears soak the ground beneath me as I hang my head to cry. But I don't weep for my father. I weep for those that he left behind. He's a ship distant on the water, ever fading from our earthly view, far off shore holds the ones that came before him, saying, welcome home, my son, we've prepared a place for you. He now sings with the angels, with a voice fit for a king. His weary frame now strong and able, free from the burdens this life brings. My tears soak the ground beneath me as I hang my head to cry. I don't weep for my father, I weep for those that he left behind. I weep for those that he left behind.
Nice.
Thank you.
Patrick.
I'm going to go back behind the camera and
Go
cry.
fix the camera. I know. I know. Since you cry at coffee commercials, that would be appropriate. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that's different than we had, and I hope there's nobody that now they'll write in and say I joined in for fun and laughter. But I suspect most people know exactly how you feel, and I do not know how you stood in that cemetery in Auburn, Alabama, and sang that song that day. Let's turn this back to something funny. By the way, yesterday we spent 5.5 hours, as I recall it, filming the YouTube that we're getting ready to put up of how to make this 7-Up pound cake that somebody asked me about a while ago. And or what I do when I get it. I know people like that story. And it was 7 minutes and 51 seconds when I recorded it. And now, of course, it's 14 minutes. It's grown. But the main thing is Norma Rose dropped in. Lord have mercy, y'all. By the time we finished, this is the last cake. We were so tired. Can you get a good shot of this cake? This is the last cake we fixed. It was a riot. And if we can just capture it, it's going to be edited, and we will probably have it up. When, Patrick?
Oh, shortly.
You try to condense 5 hours. And by the way, I do look for humor all the time. And I had on a shirt, and y'all asked me, well, let's bring Norma Rose out here and let's look and make sure this is looking good. And we had already been working 1.5 hours, and Norma Rose was not accustomed to doing things repeat the same way she almost did it the first time. And sitting out here looking up on the big screen, and I looked down at the bottom of this shirt, and it was wrinkled and had flour on it already. And I said, Norma, do I look wrinkled? And she said, well, a little around the neck, but I don't know what we can do about it today. So it was that kind of a 5-hour photo shoot here yesterday. I'll tell you, I've never laughed as much in my life. And she kept sticking her fingers in the batter, trying to sneak and eat it when I didn't know it. And then I thought, she's put her fingers in the batter. Excuse me for blowing my nose, but I'll tell you what. I did like that song, Patrick. Okay, now let's go back to a little humor, and let me make sure that I'm telling you. Oh, next week, you're not going to believe this. Next week, Jane Tucker will be back from New York City by way of Savannah. Now she's hanging out down there right now. And we'll bring the big white chairs out. And what we're going to do is I'm going to wear all black because that's what you wear in New York City. But it's really what you wear when you're going to be changing. We're going to bring out on trays jewelry that we bought just in flea markets, except for one piece. One piece will be the real stuff. We'll see if y'all can figure out which one it is. And then she's going to just decorate me with different clothes. Now, sometimes the guys might be thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to be interested in this. We've never done this before. We don't know how this is coming out. We're going to give it a shot. We just think it would be fun to show y'all because this is where we get a lot of stuff in flea markets. So that's next week on the 29th of August. Tony and I will be running the show, and we will be running the show from not the back porch, from my office. The rest of the people seem to be going out of town again. And so Tony and I will show you the things you've been wanting to see in my office. And that gives me, what is today, the 8th? It gives me 21 days, 3 weeks to get that office cleaned up a little bit, Tony, just a little bitty bit. Okay, I'm see what else I've got to make sure I can tell you. So look forward for I have 77 clips, little stories off of my DVDs. Those are stories that are on stage in front of an audiences and so forth. And then we made 2 or 3 clips just for the COVID. We put them up too. And now each one of these, this is the 20th one of these shows that we've done. And those are also available. You just look at them. They're not for charge. None of the YouTube clips are for charge. And I must make, what do I make on each one each time they hit it? 0.3 of a cent. It adds up. We're going to go to dinner sometime soon. Let me ask a few more questions, see what we can do, and we'll give away some more products. Don't let me run out of time. Okay. Now see, this is not quite a question. Margaret Reagan Teague. My favorite story is the magnets on the bracelets. Okay. All right. Now that's a great, I love that story. I love that story a lot. This is what happens when I spend all day Friday instead of going through and making sure I've got questions, just cutting them up and do that. But thanks, Margaret. I love that story. And it is, of course, a true story. And the true stories are the best. I will tell you this. Tony, you were with me. You can back me up on this. After we put up the story about, it's called a magnetic personality. It involves magnets and bracelets. We went out to eat with our girls' night out, and I'll declare I've never heard of a restaurant having magnets in the forks. Tony, do you remember this? And it called on my
picture.
you have a picture, of course. Tony has a picture. Oh, we got several things. Well, first of all, I got this little picture, and this is an unbelievable story from, I believe her name is Polly Hummus, because the paint runs a little bit. It could be Holly, but I think it's Polly. And you are painting one of these, I think it's a day or maybe a week, 52. And then you're doing something exciting with them. And I don't have I've had it sitting out here 3 or 4 weeks. I apologize for that. I'll get this straight. And then yesterday, somebody sent me 2 Mayberry cups from it says, "You're the Barney to my Andy." I don't sell any of this stuff. You understand that. And I do love the Andy Griffith Show. It's the greatest television show that has ever been produced. And I will get all of that straight because, no, if I remembered where it came from, I would be able to tell that. No, I think it's something about Hope's store. But, so I've got to get the story on that, and I will. What has happened this week? Excuse me, Patrick, your song got to me because I knew you loved your daddy so much. So we have somebody coming to Elon as a freshman from Missouri next week, Isley. And so we said, just send all your clothes and things here. There have been so many boxes that have come in. This is fun. It makes me feel young because she's a girl coming, not a guy. And so guys don't bring as much stuff. And so this came in a box. We took them out, and we got to find that box among all the others, and we will do that. Let me go with another question. Why don't we give away some books after this? Here's a question right here. Y'all all hear the phone ringing? I don't know who that is. Just ignore it. Okay. Donna Crystal. Do relatives always expect you to speak at family gatherings? My relatives ask me to please stop telling the same. We have stories, and y'all do too, that we tell at family gatherings. And we always encourage, especially younger ones, to tell your story about the time Aunt Sue come or something like that. And the reason we do that is that what you got for me? Got it? Okay. Just throwing things at me in the middle of the whole show. But we want to encourage young people to tell the stories. And I like to see if people can tell them the same. Sometimes when I do that, I find out they're doing the same with me. I'll tell the story and everybody's laughing and I'll finish. And then one of them, like Aunt so-and-so, will say, you left out the line about the dog coming in. Well, okay. So I think you ought to swap stories at family gatherings. And if you think they've heard it, say, look, I'm working on it still. So they do expect me. Now, the one thing I do not want to do is pray, because people expect professional speakers to have an eloquent prayer. And there's always somebody there who can do a better job than I can do. And of course, I would always used to say, left brain, would you pray, please? And he would look at me, and I knew that was wrong, but he would if I needed to do it. You got a question, Tony?
No, but you were starting them about the fork. Can you put that somewhere?
I wrote I'll be
About us
darned.
in the when we were eating in the fork.
Well, we're in front of this one right here, so just poke it in there. Oh, you can put it right in there.
No, not yet.
Okay, one fork was holding up another fork, and we started laughing so hard. And see, people say you make stuff up. I do not make stuff up. I don't do it. And Tony, do you realize? Tony just flipped to somewhere, and that happened at least 3 years ago. Okay, so let me ask one more. Yes, question?
5 years ago. December 15th, 2015.
It happened on December 15th, 2015.
My mother-in-law's Rain Man.
Okay, but the story had happened in New York before that. Okay, you are sitting in different chairs. Well, I move around like this. You know what they're probably saying is, I will have the white chairs out for Jane Tucker. It's a little more elegant. All right, let's give away some stuff right here. Got these in here. I'm going to draw a name from the bucket because y'all are not in here. So we got to give one book away from here. Okay, is that fair enough to everybody involved? I'm mixing them up. Okay, and this bucket is going, this gift will go to Becky Whitlock. All right, Becky, you have just won one of my books. Let us know if you want to get the one with the errors or you're going to wait for the corrected one. But let Tony know that you won it. Your question would have been, what do you like to do for fun? You've spent a large time of your life entertaining. What entertains you? Oh, I love to sleep. I just love to sleep. I'll just get in the bed in a dark hotel room, full of covers over my head and do that. I also collect old humor books, and I'm always working. I'm a lucky person. Collecting funny stories is my hobby, and it's also what I do for a living. That's not the way it is for everybody, but everybody needs to look for humor that's there all the time. But you want a book? All right, we're going to do another person out of this bucket. No, we've done one that's prorated. That's about right. This one has thousands of names in here. And this is, okay, Sherry. Her name is Sherry. Okay. Cheri. Now what? We'll have 25 Sherrys written. There's no, how can she not have her last name on there?
Sorry,
Didn't win. Oh gosh, let me know if there's a problem. Okay, and this is going to be a book to Nancy, and this is spelled Nanci, R. Fisher. Watch the YouTube clips with the pictures. Liked it very much. That's again talking about the ones that Marty added to Harold Payne. Nancy, have you been in here before? Was spelling it Nanci, or maybe you ordered something. But Nancy Fisher, you're going to win right there. And I am going to now ask another question out of the bucket. Get to the smiley face. I'll ask a question very quickly because aren't we running down toward the end? The clock broke. We had a clock. The clock broke. Okay. Linda Cates Wall, W-A-U-G-H. Okay. And she says, do you ever go back to the beauty pageants to help contestants? Look at me. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. There's some people, Patrick, am I looking at the right camera? Okay. I looked over there and he looked like he was reading the magazine. I just wanted to know he's working hard. there are people who do that, and they are really good at it. They can really take a young woman who wants to learn and say, you know, can I make a few suggestions, and makeup, you know, whatever. When I entered the Miss North Carolina pageant, there were 84 contestants who had won their local pageants. One of them, just one out of 84, had been in the Miss North Carolina pageant another year. And everybody said, she's the one who's been in it before. Can you believe? I mean, we just went to represent our town for 1 year. And she was very nice, but we would say, I just can't believe she would enter again. Why would you do that? In today's world, they use it as a program to improve. They can be in the pageant 5 or 6 times. They maybe enter knowing they're not going to win the first or second or third year or fourth, and they just keep entering. They know each other. They've become friends with each other. There's not this catfighting that you think it takes place at pageant. I've never seen it. But because of that, a cottage industry has grown up where people do help the people who are in pageants. And they are worth whatever they pay them, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say whatever. I take that back. But they can help them. They know where to get their gowns. We were having everything made in Graham because we couldn't buy anything with my height. So that doesn't excite me. If I've had people bring their granddaughters over and I'll say, the best thing I know is to read the news, get ready, just have a good time. I can't give them their money's worth. And there are people who do that and do a great job. I do, by the way, support completely my pageant experience. If you're 19 years old and you get up on your feet and make over 500 speeches that year, and then half of the year you were 20, you cannot buy that kind of an opportunity. And I have milked it for everything. No one's milked it for more. Here's a question right here. I believe Morley Safer said that on 60 Minutes. Said no one has milked it for more. Pat Moore Weatherly. I heard you say you played the ukulele. Do you still play? Would you play something for us? Oh, Pat. It was pitiful then. And with only knowing 4 chords, it'd be bad now. And I used to play in every speech that I gave. I kept writing little original songs. And then people started saying, you don't have to bring the ukulele unless you just want to. We'd be glad to. In other words, they were suggesting that I didn't need it. And then it got to be that you had to buy a ticket for it on the airline. And there went that. But thank you for asking. It was a pitiful talent, I will tell you that. But I had to have a talent. They wouldn't let me shoot hook shots, so that was that. All right. Give another question. We'll give away some more prizes. All right, just wondering. Okay, Helen Bayer, Bair. All right, yesterday in the pop-up, I do a pop-up every week to invite y'all to come. It's a way to remind you that Saturday's coming up and we're on stage. And so I told a story about speaking, getting to the hotel real late, and Southern States, a great organization. And she said, just wondering how many of those Southern States folks that were partying at 3 a.m. in the hotel lobby showed up for your morning speech. Did they look hungover? No, they just looked propped up. But they were doing okay. No, they couldn't have been a nicer audience. It was great. Okay, a few more prizes. Now, what we're going to do is let me just call out. This is another one for my book. If you have the book already, Tony will swap out for one of the DVDs. Pat Ansell, Ancell. You have just won a copy of Don't Bungee Jump Naked and Other Important Stuff. And here's one. Yep, I'm going to do it last. And Alice Hunt Dewey, D-U-W-E. Is the snake gone? Yeah, oh yeah, that snake's gone. All right, Alice, you've won. D-U-W-E. Alice Hunt Dewey, you won. And now.
Wait a minute, I missed that one. That was the 4th one.
Fifth one, I think. Alice Hunt Dewey. D-U-W-E. Dewey. You have won another book, and we're going to give away one more of my books, and then we're going to give away a special surprise. And see, Melinda Powers, what is the best airport for traveling? Oh, the one you can get out of or into. And I'll tell you something. I know we got to wrap this up. You're going to die. Every joke says, if you don't know when you die, if you're going to heaven or hell or up or down or whichever way, but you're going to have a layover in Atlanta. How many times have you heard it? Well, I'll tell you something. If I can get to the Atlanta airport, I can get home. If I can get to the Atlanta airport, I can get to where I'm going. But in a small town airport, sometime and your flight's canceled in the morning, the next flight out is at 5 in the afternoon. There you are. Now, the last thing we're going to give, I'm going to put these back in here. Right, oh gosh, put them right on the top so I can put them back in for the question. Nope, y'all are not eligible. We're going to give away one of Patrick's songs, Patrick Henry, one of your, and there are 19 songs on here, Patrick? Tracks, excuse me.
Well, some of them are talking.
Tracks. It's the 19 tracks, Patrick Henry, Married Man. The one who won this last time, I wrote and said that she really liked it in her car. So here's, I'm going to get down and see who's going to win this. Notice, I don't want people saying, I wanted yours, and then I won Patrick's, and here it is. Emily Wilkes Brown.
I don't think people would say that.
What?
I wanted yours, but one Patrick's.
I know, no. Oh, Patrick, they didn't mean it if they said it. But they'll say, you took my name out. And then I wanted, I'll tell you where I've seen it happen. At banquets, when they'll say, look, you've won $200 worth of cosmetics. And then they'll say, and now we're going to draw for the trip to Maui. And the person sitting there with the cosmetics says, put my name back in the box. So I'm sorry I said that. Did I hurt your feelings?
Not at all. Tell them to go to Tony@JeanneRobertson.com to claim the prize.
To get your prize. That's what you do. Oh, y'all, I've had another good time. We'll see you next week. Jane Tucker will be here. The crowd will be here. We'll be back on the back porch. Black porch in black, dressing myself in the thing. Patrick, you got to hurt your feelings about this? How many more we got to get rid of? No. Bye, y'all.
She's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.
I thought it was a good show.